What's up guys, it's Clormo. Yes, I'm back with another video in English. I have realized I've been lost since I finished the alchemy series. I was, as you know, if you have been following me, just making sure that the Spanish version of the videos caught up. And now what you're seeing here is just the video of the week, which I'm gonna do in English and Spanish. And I should say Spanish. Anyway, so just to make sure that I keep doing those quick tip videos, today I'm gonna give you an overview of the drum kit designer, only because it's a good thing to start incorporating into your workflow. It's good for beat makers too, in my opinion. So I want you to not miss it, pay attention to it, and instead of downloading 1,000 plugins, just deal a little bit with the drum kit designer, which is a good also complement to Ultra B, DSX24, the drummer, etc, etc, etc. This is not gonna be such a short tip video because I want to make an overview and I don't want to make it too fast either, but you're gonna see how easy it is to work with it. And without further ado, let's just start right here. I have a new file and I'm gonna select a software instrument. I'm gonna select drum kit designer. For now, let's just keep it stereo. I'm gonna do create, and if I bring it up, here's what you see right away: a 3D representation of your drum kit inside a certain space, which is just, you know, simulating something, right? Like a studio or whatever scenario, in a theater or whatever. That's not, you know, that important, but you can control like some room parameters. It's not going to change really the graphical representation of it, but what the drum kit design lets you do, it lets you build custom drum kits. So that's good because not only do you have your Ultra Beat and EXS to bring your own custom samples, as well as Alchemy, you can bring your own custom samples, create drum kits from there, save them as Apple loops, save layers as Apple loops, save different patterns of different portions of the drum kit as Apple loops, and have them available to you. But now you can also control the whole drum kit and start tuning around all that stuff, and all of that is possible because the instrument itself, the drum kit designer, has a good selection of drum and percussion sounds, you know, a library like many other Logic Pro X instruments. So another thing that you also have is controls to change the sound, you know, the tuning and the levels of each piece of the kit, like you're gonna see. There's further settings that are gonna let you do much more, like position different microphones and overheads and change the room characteristics, which are possible if you do what's called as the producer kit. So if you go to your library, or if you even well, actually the easiest way is from the library. You go to drum kit and then producer kits, and all these have this plus sign. If you bring one of those, I'm gonna show it just in a minute, you're gonna see that they're stacked. All of these portions and all of these controls are stacked inside that special drum kit designer kit, and in those then you can control those microphone parameters, you can control the room parameters, and you can utilize, or you have available to you, more percussion sections, different types of percussion sections available. The normal drum kit designer doesn't have that many, but still a good starting point to get accustomed, get easy going with it, and start playing around with this stuff instead of downloading 1,000 plugins. Just use this guy. Another thing that we need to know is just the interface. So we have your drum kit in 3D, and you guessed it, if you press anything, you're gonna bring your different settings here of your interface, or your different portions of the interface, as well as preview the sound itself for each different, your snares, your cymbals, your hi-hats, your kicks. And then if you have available, as I was saying a few seconds ago, if you have sections available to change, then you can change those here in the exchange panel. You also have to your right your edit pane, which is gonna let you change the tuning, your dampening, and your gain levels for those different sections. If you press a section that it's comprised of more than one, like the toms, then you can use those parameters to change the characteristics of all of the group itself, or you can change each one individually, which is the same is true for anything that's grouped. All right, so that's gonna give you that. Talking a little bit more about the edit pane, well, if you followed me before any of the other videos that I've made giving overviews of instruments or the Alchemy series, all you have here is a piece of cake. It's just a tuning knob where you can change the pitch of the piece of the kit that you select. Then the dampening is just gonna adjust that sustain level, right? It's gonna dampen the strength of that percussion section or instrument or piece. And then the gain is just gonna play around with that volume, adjust the volume of that piece. Then you have these extra parameters down here, which I'm gonna get to them in a second. But now I'm gonna bring up one of those producer kits real quick. I'm just gonna bring a Roots one. And don't get confused by this. This is a little bit confusing, I know. It's gonna bring you this EQ because your patch changes in such a way that you no longer need to go in here to control the kit itself, like I was doing just a second ago with the, let me just bring another drum kit designer. So you no longer do this to bring up that drum kit designer. You go inside this stack and then press here. There's where your drum kit is, your drum kit designer, I should say. So you don't have it right away from there. It's hitting inside this stack, but inside this stack you have your different drum kit sections or pieces. You have your kicks, your different microphones, right, in and out. You have top of the snare, bottom of the snare. You have your toms, your hi-hats. You have the room characteristics, different microphones around the room. And then these are the extra parameters like the tambourine, shaker, and hand claps like you see here. So you can play around with those from inside this menu. If I choose another portion, you see that I have a different type of interface control there. But anyway, so having said that, right, with the Producer Plus kits or the Producer kits, notice that when I select a piece, I have the same controls. The only new thing here is going to be this section here. So you have your leak switch, leak switch, sorry. So that's only available here, and that's going to include the sound in the mic of the other key pieces. Then you have your overhead switch, which is includes the drum kit overhead mic in the sound. And then the room switch is going to choose between a room A and B, and you can turn on and off that room emulation. So that's going to give you a more realistic, more reverb based type of sound. But also notice that my library for kicks, for example, it's more extensive than with the normal drum kit designer. So I have different ones here, which is good because you can, for starters, you can go, well, I don't have it anymore, but you can, yeah, well, it's right here in track 17. You can start getting used to this with the normal drum kit designer, and then jump right away to the producer kits, I think, and it's going to be perfectly perfectly fine for you to transition to that fairly quickly. You also remember that you also have your presets that you can play around with. Let's see if we have, how many snares do we have? We have quite a few to select from, and then you can edit those. We have much more, bigger selection of toms too. Bigger selection here of rides, and then your crashes and your hats. So you see right away the power that this is gonna give you. To use the drum kit designer, I already explained to you what you need to do. Now, if you want to do something real quick, this is not much different than simply adding a little MIDI section. You can double click it and bring the piano roll. You also have there your relationships with your keys in the keyboard, and then just draw inside of this. Actually, I want to delete that. And that's all you do. You know, you can draw in there or just play in real time and do whatever you want. And if you want to do the same thing, like for the producer kit, you can go in there and you have those elements. And then if you want to go and change your kicks, your kick in, you can double click that and then bring the library, and then you can come in here and select from other different instruments. You can do really whatever you want and bring different amps. If we go here, then you know you can change that further. And that's all you need to do. And then you use that in combination, as I said, with your Apple Loops library, and the possibilities are endless, pretty much. So with that, I'm gonna let you go if you need to go. For those of you that want to hang out a few minutes more, I'm just gonna say a little bit more and say a few other things before closing the video. Like I said, well, you know, I was a little bit lost, took a little bit of a break, not exactly because I wanted to, but because for those of you that don't know, because I didn't say this, I only said this in a Spanish video version. Well, Hurricane Maria struck down Puerto Rico, and pretty much all my family is down there, so it was a very difficult time, no communication with any of them for a few weeks. And you know that uncertainty, certainly it's bad when if you saw the news or the things that happened there, and they're still dealing with to this day. So while I took care of getting up to speed with the Spanish version of the videos, I also kind of slipped on a little bit, just dealing with stuff all around, centered with that, you know, family and friends visiting too. We getting me and my wife doing whatever we could to send them some stuff, you know, like batteries and food and stuff like that. And just, you know, day to day, my day work or day job type of things, you know, took a little bit of time. But now I'm back, and the purpose of my tutorials for the rest of the year would be to make more quick tip type of videos, stuff that I think it's useful, that I do every now and then maybe you don't know or you are not used to. So that's what I intend to do, but really I'm just gonna freestyle it. There's no structure really for the rest of the videos during the year. Now, for the requests that some of you had made. That's what's gonna trigger the first set of videos at the end of the year, and then starting next year with, you know, some sound designing, more in-depth mastering stuff, and you know, whatever else comes in between that if you ask for it, you know. So feel free to ask. And also I want to keep that pattern of or that promise that I made to make poetry specific stuff for the YouTube channel, and also beat making videos and beats. I have a lot of beats, new beats that at this point might be a little bit old that I haven't released, so I'm gonna get back to that, get into that flow again. So with that, I'm gonna leave you for now. If you have not subscribed for any reason, I invite you to do so right now. I also invite you to follow me in all the other social media ventures and sites. All the links are in the description. If you need to get a hold of me, you can do it there, or you can visit my webpage www.clormoindustries.com, or the email clormoindustries@gmail.com. See you in the next video. Peace out, my friends.